Well, hi guys, Emma again. Welcome back to the spare room. Last few days, a week, I've been spring cleaning pretty comprehensively. You can't sort of see yet where I've been, but I've been making some shelf space and making some bench space and setting up a computer desk. Something a bit dedicated, setting up some big monitors so that I can see what I'm doing. And putting things away and generally trying to make some space and clean up. There's a job that I've been putting off for a while on this lathe, and it was never ever completed, or this part was never ever done. And I've got a friend who does a bit of sheet metal work, and he made me this tray here under the lathe and a few other bits. But the idea was to get a bit of stainless steel, and I've done that. It's just 0.6, I think. It's pretty thin stuff. And we've bent the end of it over and put a safety edge on that edge and this edge, and left this one flat and trimmed him to fit. And what I sort of had in mind was to put that up there behind the belts to stop the chips and bits and pieces and falling out and things falling over the back of the bench, etc. And probably to provide a bit more light in there might help too with the reflective surface. That's just an idea, and whether that's actually going to prove to be like that, I don't know. But that fits in there fairly nicely. And it should be a fairly simple job to thread and tap them and put some 5mm or even 4mm screws. I think I've got some there. A row down each side, just stainless steel pan head umbracos. And that should sort of finish the job off nicely. There's only one problem: to drill and tap all those holes, we've really got to dismantle this bench. So that means taking the lathe off the bench, and probably I'm not going to take the lamp off. I'm probably going to take the belts off, give everything a good clean and a polish up, and put it all back. So that's the Christmas job, and time to get in and do it. So the cross slide just unscrews. And we only have to turn that half turn, and that just lifts off. This tailstock just slides out to the back. The same deal, half a turn. That just lifts off nice and easy. Of course, the belt, all we need to do is slip him off one end and pull the pin out. Put it somewhere safe. That's one belt. Probably time we had a new one of these, poor old thing. But it's done a bit of work. It used to be the same colour as this belt here. Just unscrew that. been a while since that moved. Find the joiner there and take that pin out too. We get our lorch spanner out. If we reach around the back, there's a hole in the back here with a nut in it that this spanner will fit. That just flies along the bed there anywhere you want it. And I made the pulleys all adjustable too, so you can put an attachment on the back here if you need to. It won't reverse, but you can easily change the headstock over for another one if you've got one of the other attachments. So that just lifts off too. And we're back down to the plain bed there. So next job is to give that a bit of a clean up. And sweep up, undo the 4 bolts here. It was 8 bolts. We're going to lift that off, and we're going to lift the tray off too and give everything a bit of a clean. We're going to sweep everything up and start looking at bolting that up. So after a lot of fussing around with all these bolts, which are just stainless 8mm bolts and washers that I've got on there, spring washers, big washers underneath, hold the lathe down, got them all out, pulled the tray off and give it a good clean up, which was overdue. We've set this up with 1 bolt hole here on the back. This should be nice and rigid. Found the bolts, that's the hardest part of the whole operation. As is my normal, I always buy a couple of extra and put them somewhere. So I've got a handful of bolts that I didn't know where they were, but we've discovered them. And next job is we've centre punched these through. We've drilled 4 holes down here and 4 holes down the other side. We've centre punched them through, so we're going to take this off and drill them and tap them. They're just M5. And we're going to drill and tap the other end, and then we're going to put all the bolts in. And that's going to be that stage of the whole thing finished. So let's get in and do that. So an hour later, this is part of the job I've really been dreading. I've got four holes tapped in there, and 1, 2, 3, and another one behind there. So that's everything screwed and drilled and tapped, and the last screw goes in. Now, one of the criteria in the design of this is that it shouldn't rattle, which is probably something that was important. Got the 4 screws down the back there. And we've got a fair bit of resonance happening, so what I'm probably going to do is screw something along the back of that eventually. I might just make a cross member to go in there, or some such thing, or a piece of steel across the front that we can screw it to. I'm not convinced that that's going to rattle much. It does if you resonate it at the right speeds, but the only thing we can really do is put it back together and see where it does rattle. And clean this bit of blue off here. Be the next job. And we'll put this belt back on. So that gives us a final look down that seam. Still a pen mark to clean up there. A couple of bits of RHS across along here, just square tube 20mm with pop rivets through from the front. It'd finish that off nicely and give it a bit more rigidity if there's a problem. And I'm beginning to think maybe there is. So let's put the belt back on. So that's that belt back on. This is probably noisy if you touch it. I don't think there's a lot of shake in the machine to move it yet. I'm going to put something behind that. Stage 2 of this project. We're going to put something around this hole. I had tossed up quite a lot of ideas for this. Number one is probably just a piece of aluminium sheet bent up on a bit of a cone, a bit of angle on each end, and a bit of angle on the front, and probably a square sheet underneath tigged together. That's one option, to do something like that. The other option is just a piece of perf metal. We could bend that up and cut it to shape. And screw it on. That'd be quite nice. We can make something out of sheet metal. We could make a full height one maybe. I'm not so keen on that as an idea. It's just something to stop things falling down this hole. It's never been quite finished. And screwed to the back plate, this might be a little bit stronger too. So, time to put it all back together. Thanks for watching, guys. This might be one of these let's make a start and never get it finished things, but it's got the first part of it done, and the hard bit was tapping all those holes and drilling them by hand, and I'm glad I've sort of got that sorted. So let's put the lathe together anyway, and we'll think about this next bit of garden in the next little while. So thanks for watching, guys. More soon.